Welcome back to Bloomington Today. I'm pleased to welcome Officer Heidi Miller to the studio with me here today. Thank you, Heidi, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, before we begin, let's set the scene for today's topic. Your kids are having a competition with their friends on who can swing the highest or get across the monkey bars fastest. Or maybe you're playing a pickup game of baseball with some friends at a nearby park, and suddenly a storm moves into the area. Officer Miller, being caught in a storm is a very scary thing, and many people believe that there's enough time to find shelter or get home before the actual weather incident occurs, but unstable weather conditions happen quickly. We've seen it all here in Bloomington, haven't we?
Oh, we have, and I think before we started airing here, we talked about in May of 1998 how I think it was probably the worst hailstorm we've seen come through this area. Even before that, in 1987, we had major flooding that affected the entire metro, but 9 Mile Creek was flooding some homes. That's how high it was. The blizzard, even let's go back to 1991, October. You said you were trick-or-treating.
I trick-or-treated that blizzard.
Okay.
So much snow.
Yeah, well, back in 1987, though, I mean, the rain came up so hard and fast. My brothers were in high school then, and they were trying to get home from work or from sporting events or whatever it happened to be, and literally the water had come up to their car door windows, and they were trapped inside. And that can be a very dangerous situation. So it can happen so quickly and so fast.
Absolutely. So let's say you're at a park and severe weather strikes. Officer Miller, what is the first thing that you should do?
You're thinking, I got to get out of this weather and I've got to find a shelter. I've got to, and there are a number of shelters at several of our parks. You may not be able to make it home. If you know somebody that lives right nearby the park, you could go to their house, go to their basement and find shelter, or even maybe possibly a business, you know, nearby if they're going to allow you inside to seek shelter. Those are all good options.
Absolutely. The Bloomington parks that have shelters are Dred Scott, Valley View Park, Bloomington Family Aquatic Center, Bush Lake Beach, and Moyer and Bush Lake have picnic shelters. But let's say you're at a site that doesn't have one of those shelters, or it's just unable to be accessed, it's locked, there's a warming house or something. What do we do then?
Well, then you want to get away from any trees. Trees are like big lightning rods. You want to separate yourself from any sporting equipment that you have. If you're hiking, you're out with your dog, put the backpack somewhere else. Even their leash, if it's metal, you may want to consider taking that off of them, having them close. Consider maybe a cloth or a nylon leash from here on out. And then you want to basically sit on the ground, hug your knees, put your head down, and keep your feet on the ground. That's what you want to do.
Okay. Now, I read that you're wanting to avoid open fields, laying flat. You're just making yourself a bigger target?
That's right.
Okay. So if ever caught outdoors in a tornado, it's similar safety things that are offered, tips like avoiding trees, seeking low-lying areas. What are some of the telltale signs that this isn't just a thunderstorm here, a tornado is coming?
Okay, well, you're going to have probably hail, and it's going to come down fast and furious. You're going to have wind. The sky is going to look kind of different than you've ever seen before. It's going to be this light-colored green. And then you may even see what we call funnel clouds up in the sky, these clouds that come down kind of like this, and they may be turning or rotating is what they call it. That's a funnel cloud. That's the first sign of a tornado. If you are in a vehicle when that is happening and you can't find a shelter or whatever, you want to get out of your vehicle, go to that low-lying area. This is when you would want to make your body nice and long, flat, and put your hands over your head like this. Mm-hmm. That's just very important. So.
And one thing we should mention, these low-lying areas are very important if caught in a storm. They're good places to be, but keep in mind rising water quickly. That's,
right, definitely.
Be conscious of that. Well, we're talking about being outdoors and in parks and severe weather striking, but let's briefly recap what you should do if you're at home, indoors, at a local business, or even at school. What are the safety tips that kids should take away?
Well, a couple of things that you want to take away. You want to get to a place that doesn't have any windows, if at all possible. So maybe if you're at home, have your parents show you where that's at, so everybody in the family knows. In that room, you're going to want a flashlight, a weather radio, maybe some blankets in case you have to cover yourself up. Could be an area where you store maybe your sleeping bags, your camping equipment, so that stuff is already right there. If you're at a business, maybe you're at McDonald's with your folks and this happens, go to the bathrooms. You know, remind your parents if they even panic, because storms can be scary for parents as well. Remind them, let's go to the bathroom. There's no windows there. You can seek shelter. If you are at school, it's so important, kids. Your teachers have spent a lot of time practicing these drills year after year after year. They could probably do it in their sleep. But they practice these because of the Joplin, Missouri tornado that happened. I mean, I don't know how many times those teachers had probably practiced, and then the real thing happened. They went through it. It was scary because tornadoes sound like trains, like a train coming at you just full bore. So the teachers down in Joplin, and when they came out of there, some of their reaction, it was just amazing. They couldn't believe the devastation and the destruction. So take it seriously when your teachers want to practice these tornado drills at school. We want you kids to be safe. We have had some serious tornadoes here in Bloomington. You could go to the Historical Society or even to some of our libraries just to see the devastation that's hit Bloomington here in the past. And we want to keep you safe, so take these drills seriously. Find shelter.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank Officer Heidi Miller for being here today. And while we hope nothing like this ever happens to you, it's always best to be educated and prepared should you ever get caught in a storm. And now we'll have one final message from the kids we saw earlier today.